Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mocktail Minutes. This is Bailey.
And this is Brianna.
This week, I am drinking an Element. It's LMNT and the raspberry flavor. It's pretty good. I only did half of one because it's 1,000 milligrams of sodium, and I just don't need that much sodium today. So, half of an Element this morning.
Very nice. I'm still drinking my Rayvi. I just ordered more flavors that are supposed to come out on the 15th. So I'm excited. I'm going to actually try the one that Lindsay talked about where she adds like a little bit of cream and stuff to it. I'm going to try one of those and make like a pink drink
Yeah.
copycat thing. Yeah. I'm excited.
Yes. And yeah, we put all of our links that we have to any of these drinks that we're recommending, so you can always find them there too. But just kind of a recap on our last few episodes. So our last one that we posted last week, it's with the Volley owners, the Volley Seltzers. So that was just like a fun get to know you, and you got to learn more about the Volley products. And then we recently posted our cocktail hour with our significant others, and you guys are loving it. Well, it sounds like you're loving it. I hope you
Yeah.
did as much as we did.
Yeah. That was fun. I think we should do something like that again.
Yes. Yeah, let us know if you want us to do it again or you just don't care about us doing those. Yeah, just let us know. It's fine. But this week we're back to our nutrition tips. So we're going to talk about healthy swaps. And I think this kind of goes along good with just talking with the Volley owners, because the Volley seltzers are something that is kind of a good swap compared to other options. So we're going to talk more about the food swaps today.
I'm excited about this topic because I feel like it's a hot topic.
Yeah.
So either people really love it or they really hate it. Either people are like, "Oh my gosh, only healthy swaps for literally everything," or people are like, "That is so diet culture, don't do any of it." So hopefully after this episode you can find like a happy medium, because there's definitely a
Mhm.
time to do it and it's always about your why behind it. Why are you doing the healthy swaps? So let's get into
Yeah, I agree. I think it's definitely a hot topic right now. And I've seen a lot, even dietitians kind of say, like, oh, we shouldn't have to do all these healthy swaps. It's diet culture. I'm like, I don't necessarily agree with it. So I don't know. What are your thoughts around just the swaps that are going around TikTok right now?
I mean, the first thing that pops into my mind is it's just the cottage cheese because it's everywhere. Okay, like last summer, it was take a carbonated water and add some balsamic vinegar and it tastes like Coke. That is ridiculous just
It's weird.
because it's probably disgusting. And I feel like if you want a Coke that bad, you can have a Coca Cola. There's lots of different options of Coca Cola. Now, when it comes to cottage cheese this summer, I'm like all about it because first of all, I think it's okay. Okay. Again, it goes back to your why. Are you doing it because you're like, oh, I have all this whole list of foods that I can't have, so trying to find alternatives? If that's the case, that's probably not that great. But if you're like, hey, I have goals, I want to find more goal supportive ways to eat, I want to, increase nutrients in my meals, like let me think of common things that I eat and how I can like bump up the nutrients. I don't think that's bad.
I agree, especially like you were saying, it's adding nutrients to it. And when you take it from that point of view, instead of just being like, oh, I can never have ice cream, I can only have cottage cheese ice cream,
Yeah.
I feel like it's coming from a much better place. Like you said, deciding why are we doing this in the first place. If you're someone who's struggling to get in protein, or if you're someone who you just want to balance your blood sugars a little better, I think it's a great option. But if you're someone like me who's allergic to dairy, yeah, that's not a great option. So, yeah, kind of weighing it out there. So I think again, it's just how are we thinking about these swaps in the first place? Is it because we're telling ourselves we can never have ice cream, or is it because we're just seeing how we can feel better but still enjoy foods we really like? If you enjoy your cottage cheese ice cream, eat it. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't have to be diet culture.
Right. I did a story on this like not too long back because I kept seeing the whole cottage cheese thing come up in like certain dietitians I follow are like, yeah, this is awesome. And then other ones that I usually align with are like, this is terrible. And I was like, okay, first of all, it is so dependent on the person. Let's
Yeah.
have a check in. Like, I think of things typically like cauliflower rice. I'm going to be honest. rice probably tastes better. Okay, the majority of people can probably say rice tastes better. But if you're like, I actually really like cauliflower rice, then have cauliflower rice. It's almost like we're taking people's food preferences out of it. And just because cauliflower rice can be a substitute for a regular rice, doesn't mean that if you eat it, you're on a diet or that you don't eat carbs or that you're restricting rice. You know what I mean? Like it's all about food preference. Like if that's what you really like, do it. And I felt this way like I think it depends on where you're at with your journey. Cause I used to be super against smoothies because smoothies was something I would do when I was like hardcore dieting and they weren't like nutritious smoothies. They were like some fast smoothies, you know? And so for me, I always associated like, oh, smoothies is dieting, smoothies is dieting. And then eventually I got to a place where I was like, okay, I like smoothies again. I'm having a nutrient filled smoothie. I can drink smoothies and I don't feel like I'm dieting. You know, it's almost like when people are like, oh, are you going to order a salad at a restaurant? Yeah, I am because they
Yeah.
taste way better at a restaurant because I'm never going to have all 50 ingredients.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's just like your why behind it. I'm not ordering salad because I'm like, oh, I don't want to eat anything. I'm ordering it because it's delicious.
Mm-hmm. And I exactly what you're saying too. I don't eat salads at home either. They do not taste the same. So
No,
if
of course.
I'm at a restaurant, yeah, I will usually get a salad. That's like my side. I don't get it as a meal. They are not super filling to me as a meal, but when we're out to eat too, that's when we're usually with other people. So then everyone's like, "Oh, all you eat is salads." I'm like, "No, I just happen to eat them when we're
Yeah.
always out together because we're out at a restaurant and I don't always like their other vegetables, so salad's nice and easy and it tastes better and they serve it to you on a cold plate. I don't have that at home.
Oh, yeah, they do. I think that is also really appealing. The cold
Yes.
plate.
I
Yeah,
mean,
so it's
you could do it at
always
home.
like your why behind it. And then I think it's okay. Like, I feel like people are kind of caught up in the, well, I don't want to be diet culture, so I'm just not going to do any of these healthy, like, or, you know, healthier, more nutrient swaps, whatever you want to call them. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to be diet culture. But then they're kind of giving up like their food preferences.
Hmm. I like how you say the nutrient swaps too. I think that would kind of be a better way to look at it, at just nutrient swaps. How can we do this differently? And even thinking about the cauliflower rice, if you're just wanting to increase your vegetables, like I don't crave cauliflower. Let's be honest, it's not like something I crave, but I also know I'd like to get a variety of vegetables in. I also know I just don't love vegetables all the time. I like them cooked better than raw. So if I'm making like a stir fry or tater tot casserole or anything with ground beef, I just add cauliflower rice to it to up my vegetable intake.
Yeah,
Simple as that.
exactly. Yeah.
And yeah, so I
Looking at
like,
it as like, what are my goals?
yes, yes, I like the nutrient swap kind of point of view that you created there. And even the things like the black bean brownies. So those are pretty popular. I've actually haven't made them yet. Have you?
I haven't, and I actually saved one of the videos that I saw because I was like, I'm gonna try this, but I haven't. I
I
haven't.
never remember to do
Me
it.
neither. Mine's saved on Instagram. I have probably like 1,000 different saved
Yeah.
posts, and they just get lost, and I never do it
Mhm.
again. But I'm thinking about trying out some of these just to do like a review of them, like I've been seeing going around, because I think it also has to do with like the taste, you know, like
Mhm.
for example, I made like French onion dip the other day with cottage cheese, blended cottage cheese, and it was actually delicious. Like my whole family loved it. My husband loved it. My kids even ate it. My dad ate it, which is saying something because he like takes everything I say and does the exact opposite, but even he
Yeah.
loved it. And I'm like, okay, you know what? This is actually a good swap for
Mhm.
everyone. They all loved the taste and
Why
it's
not?
extra protein. Yeah. You know, so my kids, yeah, maybe they're dipping chips in it, but you know, I'm at least I know they're getting some extra protein. And for me,
Mhm.
it helps because I like to have high protein snacks. Now, if I were to have made it and it just tastes horrible, well, I'm not going to continue to make it. I'm going to allow myself to have, you know, regular French onion dip. Or maybe I'll try half and half, you know, of like just, but it's like, it depends on your goals. And when I say goals, I don't always mean like your weight loss and fat loss goals, but maybe like you were talking about, like, I try to eat more vegetables. I need to increase this. Well, if that's your goal, that's a great goal. How can you do that? Like sometimes it's necessary to make those swaps. So not everything that you do is diet culture. I mean, there is another side that we need to think about, you know, living a healthful life. There is certain things that we know that we need. We need more fiber, we need more protein, we need all this to live a healthy and long life.
Yeah. We should do like a nutrient dense swap series together. That would be fun. Just
Yeah.
try. sharing all these different things. Another one I really like that came across TikTok, of course, is the cloud bread. And so that one, like, it's literally just using egg whites and you make it fluffy and you bake it, and it's basically like egg white bread. So that's another thing that was kind of going around, that was, oh, this is healthy for you. Oh, this is also diet culture. No, this was just a way to up my protein without getting like chicken fatigued. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. Also, I feel like that would be delicious because it's like angel food cake.
It's so soft and it's just like biting into a cloud. I love it. Like, I would just eat the cloud bread by itself sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
it's good.
I mean, why not? You know, it doesn't have to be like I haven't tried it, but I'm thinking like my kids really love like the angel food cake with the
Mhm.
strawberries and the whipped cream. You know, it's like something we always do when we do
Yeah.
family barbecues. I'm like, well, let me try the angel bread. Like, if they love it, then why not? You know, it's
Mhm.
not that I don't allow them to have it. I just said I make them angel food cake. You know what I mean? But it's like, how can we fit in more nutrient dense food into our lives
Mhm.
in a way that feels good? Because I think something else is thinking when you get past the whole dieting aspect, you really start to make food choices based on like what feels good in your body and like what you want to feel like. And 10 times out of 10, more nutrient dense foods is going to feel better. So if you enjoy them, do it. It's okay. It's not saying that you can't ever, you know, go out to eat and have your regular cake again. Absolutely do it. But finding swaps isn't a bad thing. I just feel like it's such a taboo thing. It's almost like wanting to lose weight, you know, and we
Yeah.
did our whole episode about like weight loss is okay. You know, it's always your why behind it. But, you know, I get that we're being much more aware of disordered eating habits. I love that, but I also think it's now kind of making people feel a little bit weird who are like, I want to choose the more nutrient dense foods,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah, I agree. I think, yes, we should definitely do that swap series just to kind of bring enlightenment to the topic,
Yeah.
maybe. And with this being said, too, in our episode with the guys, Josh had told everyone that I drug him with vegetables. So,
Non consensual
yeah,
veggie drug.
we didn't really talk about it too much on there, but what are your thoughts on hiding vegetables, whether it's for kids or your adult partner or for yourself?
You know, this is another thing that I see black and white on social media. I there's a lot of pediatric dietitians that are like, don't do this because it can create an unhealthy relationship with food with your kids. Okay, I get it because we want our kids to like the foods that we're feeding them. You know, we here's some broccoli. This is what it looks like. Enjoy it. So I totally get it. But I'm always about how can I up the nutrients in my kids' food, especially because it's my responsibility right now, you know? And so
Mhm.
I'm like, hey, if we're making pizza at home, let's add some extra veggies. My kids, they like veggies. I will say, like they like veggies, so I'm lucky there, but they are never going to pick up a piece of pizza, at least right now where they're at in their life, that has vegetables on it and eat it. Like
Mhm.
that's not what pizza is to them. So, you know, adding some extra protein in the sauce or some veggies in the sauce, they love it. I'm happy with it. Why not?
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like, yeah, he says I'm drugging him and he didn't know for the first few times,
But he likes
but
it.
he liked it and I wasn't like forcing it. And I did eventually tell him after he told me he liked it. So I think, yeah, you can let people know what they're eating,
Yeah.
but also just show like we can incorporate these different vegetables, increase the nutrients, and we don't have to make our food taste terrible. I mean, we hear all the time where it's like, if it tastes good, it can't be good for you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this tastes good. It must not be good. And I
Yes.
have to say, like, that is so not true because that's what, first of all, my family, I love them to death, but they are very stuck in their ways. They have a very particular way of eating. It's a very, like, their thoughts on vegetables is like cornbread is a vegetable and baked beans, like that's their vegetable, right? So I was like, okay, I got to help these people out here. And every time I make something, they love it. They love
Hmm.
it. And I'm always, you know, I find ways to incorporate, like, yeah, I'm making them Brussels sprouts. I'm probably doing it with bacon, but you know what? They're eating Brussels sprouts. You know what I mean? So I think it's
Yeah.
like that give and take thing forced to. And we know that if you were just to increase the nutrients in your food, increase the variety in your diet, that could be like a really good protective factor. So like all about it. Now, am I going to force my kids to have cauliflower crust only pizza if they despise it? No, because then, that is creating an unhealthy
Yes.
relationship with food.
Mhm.
But I'm going to add stuff to the sauce. I do it with all kinds of stuff and they love it. And one day they'll cook for themselves and they can decide what they're going to eat. But right now they love it and they're not dying.
Mhm.
There's
And right
worse.
now, like, as you being a parent, as parents, it's the parent's role to provide the food. So you decide what they're eating, usually like when, most of the
Yeah.
time. And then the kids get to decide how much, and then they're going to decide if they want to try it or not. Kids, if you are providing them food, kids are usually not going to starve. They might not eat it the first time you introduce it, but continually to introduce it is going to be so helpful. And I'm sure as parents, it can be super frustrating. Again, I don't have kids, so I don't have firsthand experience with this, but the more you introduce it, the more they're going to get used to it, feel comfortable. And it can even be just giving them one piece of broccoli. We don't have to fill their plates with
Right.
broccoli
Right.
every time, just kind of getting them used to that. So, yeah, I agree. I think it's fine to throw in the vegetables, add it to your spaghetti sauce, add it to your tater tot casserole, whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
I especially like stir fries because you can throw so many different vegetables in there. There's
Yeah.
everything.
Oh yeah. Well, and no, you don't have kids, but feeding a boyfriend is very similar to feeding kids. Just so you know. So you're good to practice.
Yeah.
Like and my kids are getting to the age, at least my older one is, where he's kind of wanting to be helpful in the kitchen, which I definitely think is something that really helps as well.
Yeah.
And he'll ask me like, "Oh, why are you adding this? Why are you adding that?" And I'm really careful about the things that I say. Like the other night I was adding vegetables to like, it was like blenderizing it to like be a sauce, right?
Mhm.
He's like, "Well, why are you adding that?" I was like, "Oh, I just want to add more veggies." And he was like, "Oh, is regular sauce bad?" I'm like,
Yeah.
no. And I always try to be like, no, it's not bad. There's nothing wrong with it. There's plenty of nights we have just the regular sauce. I have all these extra vegetables and I want to increase the amount of vegetables we're eating.
Mhm.
So, it's just like I think really not only your mentality behind it, but how you talk about it is also
Yes.
really important.
The conversation around it is going to make a big difference too. And I will say, Josh has definitely expanded his meals and his palette of what he'll eat, and he's getting the PHFF down. So he
Yeah.
knows he's doing pretty good about putting meals together. We tag team it, but he's doing a
Yeah.
lot
See, and
better.
it's something that you're never going to regret. Like you're never going
Yeah.
to regret having more variety in your diet. You're never going to regret like finding ways to increase protein, especially as we age. It's just not a bad thing. I just think, yeah, again, if you're doing all this stuff because you don't allow yourself to have regular things or the way things are normally prepared, okay, well, then you need to check in with yourself. But if you like these alternative swaps or you like adding stuff in, do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do
I
it.
like doing it, and the thing is, I always tell people is like, just try it. You never know what you're going to like or dislike. And if you
Hmm.
absolutely hate it, okay, don't do it. You make cottage cheese ice cream. Don't trick yourself into believing you love it when you really just want some ice cream.
Yeah.
I felt that way about Halo Top. It gets
Mhm.
a really bad rap. I actually really liked it.
Ugh.
And I used to get it from Costco and I actually really enjoyed it. And like my husband hates it.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, okay, you should probably just have real ice cream, But like for me, I actually like it. And then I
Yeah.
remember like checking out one time and someone was like, oh, is this like, your treat? And I was like, well, yeah. I mean, I have it for dessert, but I actually really do like it,
Mhm.
like as opposed to my husband who's like Ben and Jerry's. I mean, do it. Ben and Jerry's is delicious. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I will say if there's Halo Top and Ben and Jerry's by each other, I'll probably get the Ben and Jerry's, but they don't sell
Mhm.
the big Ben and Jerry's pack at Costco. So,
Yeah.
but help me
Yes.
out here.
Yeah, we gotta get all the options. And speaking of that, I've also found a great they have like desserts. It's called Belly Brands. Have you seen them on Instagram?
Uh-uh.
So I saw them kind of pop up one day and they have some collagen added to their foods. So I made their brownies over the weekend. They were delicious and they have quality ingredients. So I'm like, that's a good option too. I mean, yeah, I probably will still buy Duncan Hines every once in a while, but this is also a better alternative. I guess with all these swaps too, we felt like it was important to bring up gluten-free and dairy-free diets. Some people are following these for whatever reason it is. I think it's important to note here that just because you are eating dairy free or you're doing gluten free, that does not mean you have to buy every box of food or every dairy free swap out there. Just because it's dairy free, just because it's gluten free, does not mean it is healthier. They can be still very highly processed, especially
Yes.
some of these like dairy free cheeses. There are some brands that I do love that have better ingredients, but also it comes down to once you eat more whole foods, you don't necessarily need to have every single swap out there.
Yeah.
I buy cream cheese like the Mayokos, however you say it. I buy
Mm-hmm.
that brand sometimes. I don't buy it every week because it's freaking expensive.
Yeah.
So I just want to give little hope to people that, because I do know some people that are going dairy free for health reasons. They know they feel better, they know they need to do it. That does not mean you need to buy all the dairy free cream cheese, not cottage cheese. Be cool if
Yeah.
there was a cottage cheese, like sour cream, all that kind of stuff. Like you don't have to buy all that. Even pizzas. I mean, they're like $10 for a, like a jack size pizza. That's
Yeah.
crazy. I'm not buying pizza every week because of that.
No, no. And another good thing to point out is just because, like you said, it's dairy free or gluten free, I think a lot of people associate that with being more healthy. So automatically, I mean, they see it like, oh, it's, or keto, gluten free, dairy free. Like they see these labels on foods, and in their mind, it's like, okay, that's the more healthy
Mhm.
version of whatever this is. This is a more healthy cracker or more healthy yogurt or whatever it is because it's not dairy or gluten. And that's not always the case. Like you said, it's usually more processed because it has certain food components taken out of it, but it's still made to taste very similar to having
Yeah.
those things in it. So I think just don't get caught up on labels. I think we might have an episode on labels coming up soon or food labels, something like that. But that is such a common thing I see. I mean, I had a friend one time growing up. It was like right after high school. She like got on this vegan kick and she was like, it's better for your body. We need to be vegan, no animal products. Like this is the way we were meant to live, right? All this stuff. And she would constantly buy hot Cheetos and Oreos. And not that hot Cheetos and Oreos are bad, but I was like, for someone who's like, I'm vegan, like I only put certain things in my body. I was like, oh, why are you? She's like, oh, they're vegan. Like, did you know Oreos are vegan? Did you know hot Cheetos are vegan? I was like, well, kind of makes sense because I mean, I didn't think that, hot Cheetos had a lot of animal products in it. Like that just, but whatever. But, and so she would like constantly, she really got hyper focused on finding foods that were vegan, like
Hmm.
labeled vegan because they were healthier. And really in reality, I'm like, I not really, I don't really think of Oreos and hot Cheetos as like real nutrient dense foods that I'm putting into, this
My temple.
sanctuary of a temple of my vegan body. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, yeah, I'll eat them, but I'm definitely not eating them because they're vegan. You know what I mean? So I just think people get really focused on like, oh, if they're not full of dairy or they're not full of gluten or they're not this, like they make them automatically healthy. And that's mostly marketing, to be
Yeah.
honest.
It's the marketing. I say it all the time. Food companies, dieting programs, they have stellar marketing campaigns. I mean, they're supposed to. They want to sell their product.
Yeah.
If only I could market myself as a dietitian to love you that well.
Right. Let's just stand in the store.
Yeah.
What do I need to do? Here I am. Yeah. No, and I get it. Like, and I see why people do it. Like,
Mhm.
people are being more conscious of their health. And I really, it honestly always comes back to, I feel like people just don't understand food and they don't understand how to eat. And so I'm not knocking anyone
Yeah.
for trying to be healthier or trying to eat like in a better way. I just feel like people do not know. I mean, even my family, I feel like doesn't know. And I live with them. My family sees me all the time. And my grandpa, he got diagnosed with diabetes like a couple years ago. He's pretty old. He's a lot older now. I mean, yeah, he's like in his 80s. So, And we went out to lunch the other day and my grandma was like, "Don't be eating all that chicken. It's going to spike your blood sugar." Like she was like so adamant on it and I was like, "Chicken doesn't spike your blood sugar," but she like just doesn't know. And I've had a talk with her multiple times about like, "Hey, like let's do this." But it's just people grow up and they they just learn food behaviors from who they're around. And then nowadays we get a lot of information, and mostly false information, from TikTok and Instagram. And so people are trying to be more health conscious, and then they end up not doing the most health conscious stuff, and it's not their fault.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we're here for. We are here to clarify everything, help you clarify. This is what we went to school for. So don't feel like bad if you don't know this.
Yeah.
We went to school for this. This is our job. I mean, that's like me feeling bad for not knowing about loans. I don't do anything with loans
That's a
but
good point.
pay the bills. Like
Yeah.
that's what I
Yeah.
know. I pay my monthly amount. But yeah, that's what we're here for. So please always just ask questions. We're never here to judge, and we hope these episodes just continue to help you out in this area and provide more clarity rather than more confusion.
Yes.
So just to kind of close this episode out, we wanted to share some of our favorite swaps. In some ways, we've made our foods more nutrient dense, make us feel better. So like one thing for me is doing avocado oil instead of a vegetable oil for baking. That's a common one I get asked about. I will add protein powder to various things. Recently, I made Rice Krispie treats and I added protein powder to those, and they were actually really good, and it made them almost like a creamier taste.
Yeah.
They were even Josh approved. His friend liked them. So,
Josh,
I mean, it's not,
I told you,
yes, I mean,
it's like kids.
exactly. Yeah. It's not like eating a protein bar, obviously. It's still more of like a treat, but it kind of helps with that blood sugar control. So, doing different things like that. And then also for dips, I'll use vegetables. Again, it's not a dieting thing saying I never eat chips, but if I'm trying to increase my vegetable intake, then yeah, I will use carrots or bell peppers with a dip.
Yeah, I do that too, especially like a lot of queso dips are really
Mm-hmm.
big here in Texas. You can get them like literally at any restaurant, all sorts of queso. I always get them with a side of cucumbers, and because I love my queso, and I not in a diety way. I do it because I like the taste, and yeah, more vegetables.
Yeah.
It's never a bad thing. What else? I do a lot of swaps with Greek yogurt. I always try to find foods to put Greek yogurt in. Like I will put them in pancakes, smoothies. Like I've used Greek yogurt in place of sour cream for stuff because the plain Greek yogurt tastes very similar. I do that. I mean, I should be a cottage cheese spokesperson. Okay. I put it in everything. I make savory stuff with it. I make it with my dips. I add it to pizza sauce. I add it to spaghetti sauce. What else do I do? And then the traditional, but the like chia seeds. I will add chia seeds to everything again.
Yeah.
And I always have like a little container with me, especially if like you're traveling, like for example, yogurt. That's another good swap. Yogurt usually is pretty high in sugar. So when you're traveling, you can't really control always what kind of brands the hotels have. So I'll add some collagen and chia seeds to it instead of stressing about the brand of yogurt, like just that sort of thing. So, and then the collagen packets are always good to have to add on the go.
Yeah. I guess another one I get asked about too is turkey burger instead of regular burger. My thought is you can have either one you want. I do buy turkey burger to get variety within my week because I don't want to eat ground beef every day. So yeah, I'll do ground beef, I do ground turkey, I do chicken, I do pork, and I do fish throughout the week. So kind of getting that variety doesn't mean necessarily never having beef. It's a different type of meat. It's like asking chicken versus ground beef.
Yeah. Yeah, it just depends on like your day, like what do I need more of today? That sort of thing. That's a good one. I was going to say black beans. I used to add black beans to a lot of stuff. Like I used to add them to, you said turkey, and it reminded me of turkey burgers, and then it reminded me of black beans. I add black beans to salads. I do all kinds of stuff with black beans. I haven't done it in a while because I'm being pretty lazy, but those are another good thing. Honestly, I think a good takeaway from this is, like we're talking about swaps and stuff like that, but start thinking of what should I add? Like, how can I add things to this to make it better or to make it more nutrient dense or to make it more goal supportive or whatever it is? I think that's a good way to look at it because then it kind of sparks like, oh, what can I add to this or that instead of swapping fully things out. I think this was a good episode. Hopefully you guys liked it. If we missed any swaps or we missed any like trends that you guys have heard and you want to know more about, DM us, drop them in the comments, whatever, and we'll address them and talk about them because there really is so many.
Stay tuned for the next few weeks because maybe we'll pop up on Instagram with our little swap series and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, let us know if there's any fun ones you've heard of, you tried, that you like. Send us a DM and we can give our thoughts. We can try it. We can add it to our series. And we hope you tune in next week. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.